Welcome back to the Year and Yaz podcast, the podcast to listen to if you're a female entrepreneur who's ready to attract more fun, more money, success, friendships, and amazing clients into your business. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope I can add some more positivity into your day in this episode. We are in between Christmas and the New Year, and I wanted to create an episode in between this period to help you really make the most of 2025 and help to make it the most fun, exciting year yet. Because yes, we can do all the business talk. Yes, we can talk about how to be successful and all the money and all of that. But realistically, what it comes down to is we all want to be happy. We all want to have fun. We all want to have a good time, have a laugh. And I feel like that's something I'm very good at. I'm very good at making my life fun. And my mindset coach said something to me. She was like, I've never met a business owner that is so aligned with their business, and I generally think I bring all of the fun into my business and my life, and like I sometimes struggle to separate everything because it is all so much fun and I love everything. And for a lot of girls that are running businesses or coming into this online space, it can feel really overwhelming. It can feel like, oh my gosh, I need to like hit certain months, I need to be successful. But realistically, what is the point if you're not having a good time? Like, realistically, don't you want to make 2025 the year that you actually have so much fun in your life and your business? And if you're in your 9 to 5, you get to quit your 9 to 5 and like you get to live your Delulu dreams of being able to go for coffees at 11 with the girls and not be worrying about being sat behind a desk. Do you want to be stress-free in your business, feeling really excited about everything that you're launching, feeling confident in yourself, feeling like you absolutely back everything that you do? Do you want to have good friends around you that really love you for you and believe in you and your business? Like, what is it that you want for 2025? And this isn't an episode to make you like dive deep and think about all of the things that you want to leave in 2024. It's an episode to really start getting excited that we have a fresh start in 2025. It's like whatever's happened this year, stuff that. Let's go into 2025 with a new Yaz perspective, the perspective that everything could be fun. Like whatever you want in your business, in your life, let's have an absolute ball together. Like, you know, I've only been running my business now for like a year and 5 months. So in the grand scheme of my life and even my 20s, that's not a big length of time, is it really? But because I got my head down last year and I really like went for it, and I was so passionate about helping other people, but I also didn't want to become this like serious mindset coach, you need to change your life type of vibe. I just really wanted to bring like that fun, really exciting feel to the inner work and like the mindset bits and bobs. I keep saying that at the moment. So it's like, okay, like how much fun do you want to have next year in your business? Like what would actually really excite you? And if the idea of doing like masterclasses or group programs or different things doesn't excite you, it's really important to look at like what would really fulfill you. And that's why like 2025, I was like, okay, retreats is something that would really excite me, and retreats are something that I can look forward to, and I could plan retreats in like amazing locations that I really want to go to and like have an absolute ball with the retreats. So even like in December, that's been something that I've been like, okay, well, let's make it happen, let's go for it. And when you like listen to your intuition, when you listen to your inner guidance system of like these things that are telling us to go after our dreams and do things that excite us, honestly, that is like the biggest gift you can give to yourself, rather than listening to everyone else out there telling you to do things a certain way. At the end of the day, the more that you trust yourself and trust that you have the answers and like listen to that, when you get that like, what's the word, like niggling, that's definitely not the word, that inkling or that like gut feeling that you should do something, then go for it. And like if you feel stressed around it, you can message me. I will not be replying on my Instagram until January because I am well deep in my like Christmas time period. But it's like looking at the things that light you up and that really excite you. And like one thing that's really helped me is going on walks without my phone and without anything. And if you're in this in-between stage right now where you filled yourself up with mince pies, you've drunk all the alcohol, you have had the best times with your family, or maybe it hasn't been the best times and you're like, right, I want to start thinking about 2025, I want to get my shit together, this is the episode to listen to for you, really, isn't it? This is the episode to really think about, like, going forward in 2025, like, what excites me about it? Like, what parts of myself would I like to grow and expand? And, like, how can I set the intention to trust my inner guidance system and trust in myself that I really know what I want for next year? So the biggest thing I was talking about going on walks then is, like, going on walks, right? Like, I love putting my phone away or turning my phone off and going on these, like, £1,000,000 walks, I call them, because when I just am outside, I connect with nature, I take the time to just breathe slowly and take myself on a nice walk. I feel like as I go through that walk, I'm like stepping into the version of me I want to be. I'm like thinking of all of the different things that I want to do in myself, my business, and like I just have like a really nice time to reflect. And it is these simple things. So over this period of time before the new year, can you take yourself on a £1,000,000 walk where you just go out without any distractions on your own and you just allow yourself to be outside in nature? I know it is very cold this time of year, but wrap yourself up, get your scarf on, get your hat on, get your big coat on, and take yourself on a good walk. Like, this could just be your walk to set yourself up for 2025. And then when you come back, before you reach for your phone, you can have a little journal on what your brain processed in that time. It doesn't always have to be like sitting in the corners meditating. It can be getting out in nature. And like, I do find as well, when you can get out in like big spaces, it honestly makes like I can see my hand in the background. Woo! It also helps us like not feel like our problems are so big, and it helps us like take a different perspective on things, and it helps us allow ourselves to like just be in fresh air and be outdoors. So that's a really nice idea if you're in that in-between stage right now and really want to like have an incredible 2025. Like, take the time off before the new year to really set yourself up. Can you have a few hours to yourself? Can you schedule in like a whole day to yourself in this time where you really just give yourself the time to set intentions for 2025 and really think about it if you haven't already? Like, what are some things, and I ask my clients this every week, I always ask, what would you like to achieve this week? How would you like to feel this week? And what excites you about this week? And you could break this down into week by week, but you can also do this like every 3 months. Like, how would I like to feel in this quarter? What excites me about this quarter? And you can also do it like, what are some things that absolutely terrify me but I would like to work towards in this year or this chapter? Because I often find the best moments of my life so far, or like the times I felt the most sense of achievement in myself and my business, are when I've done the things that absolutely terrify me. And a little secret, once you've done something that terrifies you, it's not going to feel as scary the next time. You might still have butterflies or nerves, or that might turn into excitement because you've been there, you've walked the walk, you've done things that scare you, and then now you have that new sense of confidence in yourself that actually you can do hard things. So set yourself some challenges as well for this year. Like, it doesn't always have to be about like the wholesome side of things. It's also like, what can I do that is maybe a little bit gritty that's going to get me where I want to be this year? And like, how can I absolutely give 100% to things? Because I do think sometimes I've played things down in myself. I've been like, oh yeah, I've just done this, or like, I just did an ultra marathon, or I just hosted my first retreat at 24 and like had 9-10 girls come from all over the country. Do you know what I mean? Like, these little things, not little things, these things that we can make up to, like, we just don't actually look at how much impact sometimes that we have and the things that we do have. And that's why in the last quarter of the year, I've really prioritized reflecting and being really, really proud of myself. So what can you also be really proud of yourself that you've achieved in 2024 that you want to bring into the new year? These are all really exciting things to think about, and I hope you're taking this exciting energy with you, that actually I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make 2025 the most exciting, fulfilled, like beautiful year for myself. And to do this, start looking at like the qualities in yourself that you love about yourself and the qualities in yourself that you want to bring into 2025. Like for me, the qualities I want to bring into 2025 are my like drive and like my passion for things that excite me, and like knowing when I get that fire in my belly, like feeling that excitement that I'm going to give 100% to something or 120%, because I've taught myself now that when I do things, I don't do things in halves. Like I always do give 100% because I am so passionate. And maybe for you it's like finding things that really bring you passion. Like even the podcast for me, I don't get paid for the podcast. Like the podcast is something that I do, and I pay my beautiful podcast manager to edit and to help me create like the best episodes possible because I'm so passionate about it. And yes, it probably will earn me money down the line. I can definitely see that. But for me, I see the longer term goals. I see the longer vision of being able to share each week and being able to like connect with people through the podcast. Because yes, I can post content online, but when someone devotes, and you listening devotes 30 minutes I always have a little stutter in an episode. When someone dedicates 30 minutes each week to listening to the podcast and listening to these episodes, like they're getting to know the real version of me. They're getting to know the version of me that I really am. And rather than just like seeing a 1 minute clip of me on Instagram or TikTok, it's like you get a really good feel for me as a person. And I think that's what's really helped me build a brand for myself. So yes, you might like not in business see that like direct correlation between like you investing money in things and like not seeing you get paid for them in that circumstance. Sometimes it's about like taking a step back, and this podcast has allowed me to build so many amazing connections and helped so many people get a really good feel for who I am in the industry and build up their own picture of me rather than that like small picture of people online. So it's about as well like what are you passionate about that you can invest time into in 2025? And it could be like pottery, it could be going on hikes. One of my clients is doing Everest base camp next year, like and she just travels all over the world. Like a lot of my clients have worked really really hard on their businesses and are taking next year to go explore and see the world and go on trips they want to go on. But if they were still in that mindset of like, no, I need to be fully invested in my business, I can't take time off. And I know a lot of my clients have been in that mindset, and I was in that mindset of like, business comes first, I need to invest everything into my business. But the more I have learned to have fun, the more I have taken the pressure off my business, taken the pressure off myself to grow, and just trusted that things are going to happen at the right time. Like trusted that the more that I trust in myself and the more that I listen to myself over anyone else's opinions, the better life I'm building for myself because it aligns with me. So it's about taking that back seat for a moment and like thinking about maybe all of the different influences that you've had in your life in 2024, and maybe the influences that have benefited you in your business, maybe had a bit of an impact on you and made you doubt yourself and just not bring value to your life. And then looking at that and thinking, well, like in 2025, what types of environments do I want to surround myself with? What types of people are really going to uplift me? And if you currently don't feel like you have those relationships in your life, where can you find them? My mindset when I got back to England this year was like, okay, I know that I am going home a very different person to when I was in England in 2022 and my whole life before that. So I was thinking, how am I going to be able to bring people together? How am I going to be able to meet more like-minded people? How am I going to meet more girls that maybe do run businesses and do have that lifestyle that I want? And my like answer when I was journaling was, I could create self-love events. Like I've been to self-love retreats, I've been to a lot of self-love events. I'm fully qualified as a mindset coach, and you know I release podcast episodes around self-love and mindset, and I built a whole self-love program. So what's stopping me from bringing this in person? Like imagine if I created self-love events and the girls that came to them were girls like me, and you're always going to attract what you put out, and I just knew that I'd been to a lot of self-love events and different things, and I'm like, well, that attracts the type of girls that I like and that I want to be with. So I went for it. When I got home, I did a vision board event in January. Was it January? I can't even remember now, but I hadn't been home that long, and I hosted my first event, and I dressed in like the most quirky purple and white stripy jumpsuit. You might have seen it if you follow me on Instagram, and I absolutely owned that event. It was so scary talking in front of like 20 girls in this lovely one of my friends' cafes in London, and like doing my first talk in person and having all of these eyes on me. It was really scary, and I was emotional, and I was like, ah. But at the same time, I got to bring loads of people together, and I got to host my first event. And then after that, like, I was like, well, this has definitely lighted up a fire in me. Yes, it's scary, and yes, like, it's hard when things are in person because things can go wrong and you have to put a lot of planning and work into things. But I've done that, and I've hosted a lot of events this year that have brung lots of girls together, and then that formed into hosting my first retreat. And now going into 2025, I have like 30 girls on the wait list for my retreats. And like, how special is that? That the evolution of just hosting one self-love event and like having this idea has evolved into a whole new part of my business and my life, and helped me meet some of my best friends and start that real like girlhood era of my life. And I was watching one of Molly May's YouTube videos. I've become a Molly May girl. I love her. We love her. And she was talking about like how grateful she is for this period of her life where her girls, like, she can go on trips with the girls and just laugh, and like that is such a big priority for her in her life, and like it just fills her so much joy. And that has been my 2024. It has been all about the girls. Been on like 2 dates or 3 dates in the whole year or something. And other than that, my life has just been about the girls, and I'll forever be grateful for this time that I've spent like fully single, fully invested in myself and my growth, and like giving my all to my friendships and like building these amazing relationships. So it's not just about the business. Like, you don't know where these little like moments of inspiration, I call them downloads, and I have like a download section in my phone where every time I have that like sporadic thought come up that I'm like, oh, I should do that, or that would look nice, or that post would be a good idea, like, oh, I should do that, I write it in a note section in my phone, and then I look through the download section, and then there's all of these amazing downloads that have like sparked up in me, and then I go and like make them into ideas, I make them happen. That's the thing. Are you someone that has the ideas, or are you someone that has the ideas and then goes for it even though those ideas may scare you? And I think that's been one of my strong points, and something that people have said to me is like, you just go for it. Like, you have an idea and you go for it. And that's because over the years I've like built up this resilience that I can do hard things. And I definitely think in the last 2 years I noticed that when I have that, like, those butterflies and that scary feeling of doing something, I recognize that as being a good feeling, because it's like, wow, what is going to be on the other side of this fire? Like, I know from doing hard things now that I've been able to build such a fun and beautiful life for myself. So if you really want to make 2025 like the year that you absolutely go after your dreams, like you really go for it and you walk out of 2025 feeling so fulfilled, so happy in yourself, feeling like that beautiful bad bitch that you are. And I looked at the podcast statistics the other day, statistics, and it was like 100% girls that listen. That made my heart so happy, because I do feel like this podcast is for the girls. But it really does fill me with joy, like being able to help girls absolutely transform their lives in different ways. And you could listen to one podcast episode from me and have that one light bulb moment, and it could change your life. Like, it could just be that one thing that sticks in your head that changes your perspective. And that is what I want to keep doing on these episodes, is to light that fire in your belly. Like, yes, some people could see this passion that I have as cringy, or they could see talking online as cringy. And when I started my business, I found it so cringy, like talking on my Instagram and like being like, hey, I'm a mindset coach, la la la. Like, this is how you do things. But like, now I'm so confident in myself, and like I can sit here all day and talk in this podcast. And like my dad said to me the other day, he was like, "Do you ever shut up? Like you talk on the podcast, you talk with your clients, you talk on your Instagram, you talk with your friends. Do you shut up?" No, I don't, because I love what I do, and I'm very passionate about it. So it's finding the things that really ignite your love and your passion in yourself, in your business, in your life, in your relationships. How can you stop with the surface level, and how can you actually stop being embarrassed to be passionate about things? Like, for instance, when I go raving, right, I entered my rave era again this year, and I feel like some people are just there for the look, and they're wearing their sunglasses and they're vaping and they're like filming. I don't know if anyone's seen those like TikTok, like of what a Pause a Warehouse project would look like. That might be like complete foreign language to you. But those people that are just in there like filming the whole time. And yes, we don't mind having a film. But if I go to a rave or I'm with my mates, I'm like the one doing the splits on the dance floor, like absolutely living my best life, having a rave, not caring what I look like or what, like, that side of things. I love to get dressed up. I love to feel good in myself. But at the same time, I do not take myself too seriously. Like I will go and have an absolute ball and be silly because I've fallen in love and I've learned to really embrace those parts of me. And it takes you on a journey. Like it's not always been like this way, and it might not be like that for you right now. You might feel really embarrassed to show like your quirky parts of yourself, or you might feel really like awkward around certain people, or like feel like you have to dim down your personality. But what if you could go into 2025 with the perspective that fuck it, I'm going to be my true self this year. What does my true self look like? How does she dress? Like, how does she show up around her friends? What personality traits does she have? What quirks does she have? Like, just really getting to know yourself. And if you struggle with this, definitely, if you want to make this year like the year that you've really learned to embrace yourself, I am opening up a few one-to-one coaching spaces for 2025. So I'll leave my beautiful podcast manager will leave the link in my show notes for my one-to-one coaching. And that is how you can really learn to build a beautiful relationship in yourself. Like even for me, the moment I invested in coaches for myself, I just had this weight lifted off my shoulders because I was like, I no longer have to do this on my own. Like I have someone who is fully dedicated to supporting me and fully dedicated to helping me learn about my personality traits and help me build that relationship with myself. So it's asking yourself, well, what's holding me back from building this beautiful relationship with myself? Like we are our own worst nightmares. We're the ones that really hold ourselves back from like feeling like we're good enough, from showing up, from like pushing ourselves to do the things we're scared of. And I'll be that person for my clients because I'm not scared to be the one to ask them hard questions. I'm not scared to be the one to actually tell them when they need to get out their comfort zone, and I'll set them challenges. And that's because I know the benefits of it. I've been there myself. I've walked the walk, talked the talk. I feel like I've lived 50 years by the age of 24, which sounds crazy, but I think I've thrown myself into so many different environments and so many different like experiences, and like I have always just said yes since a very young age. And even at like as soon as I was allowed to get on a train, I'd be off around the country visiting friends, or like going. I went to Malta on my own at 16 for 6 weeks. Not on my own, but I was there on my own, and I met my mum's friend's daughter. Like I've just said yes in life, and I think that's what helps me be able to understand people so well and help really listen and like care for their needs, is because I understand how scary things can feel when you're doing them for the first time. So 2025 is a really exciting time for you to learn who you want to be as a person, and the best ways to do that are to invest in yourself, are to learn about yourself, are to decide that this year is the year you're going to do the scary things. So also asking yourself what needs to go. Like, let's be honest, I'm sorry if you're hungover listening to this on your Boxing Day, but I do just want to bring this passion for before 2025 for people. So if you do get like that in between stage feeling, like you just have that something to go off to really ignite the passion. So I thought it would be good to also talk about my angels, how I am setting myself up for a really successful 25, like how I am going to make next year the best year that I've had so far in my life and my business. And I feel like this year, 2024, is going to be hard to top because I have made some of my best friends this year. I've visited so many countries, like I've learned so much about myself and all of that. But 2025, I'm so excited for. Like, I feel like I have spent a lot of 2024, like, really learning what works for me, really learning, like, what makes me drive forward. And I want to share a few things that really help me. So, number one is making time for myself. I'm my number one priority. And if I am not 100%, then other things slip. So that's through my mind, body, and like fitness. Like, my fitness has become such a big priority for this year, and my mum's actually really helped with this. I joined the gym with my mum, and she's like a machine. Like, twice a week she'll do yoga, spin class, and then like a gym session, and that's like nearly 3 hours in the gym, like in total, but by the time she's finished. But I've like got onto that with her. So how can you like bring friends or family into fitness for yourself? And I do find that this is a big one, and one that I love is like, I love going to run clubs with my friends. I love going to fitness classes with my friends, and like making it a social thing as well. So how can you show up for yourself when it comes to your fitness? Do you need to hire an online PT? Do you need to join like a new fitness class or gym? Because yes, we talk about January, like change your life, but it is such a nice time for you to think about like, how can you set yourself up for a successful 2025? I'm going to be traveling, babes. Like, I leave the country in 10 days. Yeah, less than that, 9 days. I'll be flying to Thailand. And it's been a big thing that I've had to think about. Like, how can I, whilst I'm traveling, set myself up for a successful 2025? And whilst I'm traveling, Monday to Wednesday, I'm going to be staying in nice hotels with gyms, and I'm going to be going for it in the gyms, and then the rest of the week I'm going to be prioritizing like hikes and big walks. So before like my clients wake up and before I start my day, I'll be going on like my hot girl walk still. I've been doing like 15,000 steps a day in England whilst I have not had a car, and I feel so good for this in myself. So I'm really going to be prioritising my fitness in 2025, and on my vision board there's lots of photos of like this really, really fit body, because I know that I can absolutely achieve that. And it's not about the sort of aesthetic it's much. It's like this year I've gone from being a size 14 back down to a size 8-10, and I've done that through just, it feels really good to prioritise my fitness through running, through the gym, through spinning, like yoga. I'm someone that I can't really just stick to one thing. I love like change and challenge, and like I love living like a very different week each week. And that's why I feel like I always struggled in jobs, because every week was the same. Like in sales, every week you're on the phone. Every week you're on the phone. Sorry, I don't know why I'm doing that. Every week I was on the phone saying the same thing to like the same sorts of people, and I was just so bored. Whereas like, I think that's why I'm so passionate about what I do as well, because every week's different. Every week I'm helping my clients with different challenges. I'm planning for the retreat. I'm planning different podcast episodes based on different things I've learned. So if you're someone like me that does like to switch things up, think about, okay, like, how can I in this year switch things up each week? Like, how can I do things that really bring me joy? And just learning about maybe your personality type, learning about like, are you someone that, I see like red personality types as very routine, structured, has the things that they really want to do each week, and then I'm like a yellow personality type where I'm a bit more like sporadic, like I can be really creative and create different things. So just looking at like what works for you. Like, I could sit here and say that I am like organized chaos and I love life being all like this, but that might absolutely just not be aligned with someone. So learning about yourself is a big one, and something I will continue to be doing in 2025. I'm going to be doing like a meditation course somewhere in Thailand. I don't know where yet, but I know that one is going to come up that feels aligned and feels right, and I completely trust that it'll come up at the right time. I would really like to go to a retreat for myself for 5 days. I've seen one from like Deer and Cartel. It's really random. It's actually like a kickboxing and like fitnessy retreat, and that is so up my street. I would love to go to like a fitness retreat for 5 days. I'm doing my retreats next summer. I would also love to learn to ski. End of next year, right, I could see myself doing like a sort of chalet girls type life, like where I go over to a ski resort and I do my work, but I also maybe do some like chalet girling. How exciting. I was saying to my friend, I was like, I feel like I need to be single for another year because I've just got like all these little things I want to do. I'm going to be backpacking next year, going to Thailand, Vietnam, Bali, Australia. I may be going to Fiji or New Zealand, I'm not sure yet. And then Spain for my retreat in September. And then a ski trip. Like, how mad? I'm sorry. Like, I literally get goosebumps just saying that because what the fuck? Like, how have I created this life? But it's because I'm doing something I'm so passionate about. And, like, I hope it proves to you that, like, I know that I have created this life because I'm so passionate and I give things 100%. So if that's triggered you or made you think like, well, I really want that life. Well, what needs to change for you to get that life? Like, what do you need to pour your absolute heart and passion into so you can create something really similar? Like, travel might not be a big priority in your life, but I know that when I was 22, I was not in the best place when I went traveling, and that's why this time I am going and giving 22-year-old Yaz the best life possible. Like, I'm going to be saying yes to everything. My clients are like, I feel like I've spent a lot of time this year getting really clear on what my boundaries are. So my clients are still a massive priority in my life. Like, I'm going to be pouring my love into them whilst filling up my cup with the travel, with the new experiences. Like, when I was in Australia, the amount of things I had to say no to because I was pouring everything into my business and like I couldn't afford to travel Australia or do things. But the fact this time I get to go and like I'm going to be able to say yes to things, and I'm also going to be saving for a van. But like, sorry, I've gone off on a tangent there, but it just shows that like what is stopping you from creating a life like that? I'm 24, I'll be 25 next July, and in the space of a year and 5 months, I've been able to completely change my life from doing this scary thing and setting up an online business and like doing something I'm so passionate about. But I guarantee I wouldn't have had this success if I tried to copy other mindset coaches, if I tried to be like everyone else. But because I've just brung my own flair and like I really spent the time over the last few years learning about my personality, and like even at 18 I put myself in therapy and I was paying like 50 quid a week to go to therapy because I knew that before I went traveling I wanted to learn why I do certain things and I wanted to learn why I am the way I am. And like at that point in my life I was really learning it about why I have such a bad relationship with alcohol, and it really helped me learn a lot about like my patterns and my family and like why I was such a people pleaser and why I couldn't put myself first. But it's such an evolution. So if you feel like you haven't started this journey of like mindset and self-love yet, please make 2025 the year that you start to prioritize it, because like even looking back to 18-year-old Yaz that invested in therapy, like I I wouldn't be here if I didn't make that first move. So yes, it's been an absolute journey, but what's stopping you from starting that journey? And if your answer is like, okay, well maybe this is my chance and you need some support, message me. Like, I am here to support all of the girls in this space. I'm probably not a big sister for a lot of everyone because a lot of people are older than me in this space, but like I will do my everything to help support other people in this industry build the lives that they want, because I look at how grateful I am now for being out of the other side of the hard work and the graft. And like I'll always be grafting, but I don't feel like it is not hard work for me because I love it so much. Like even sitting here to record this podcast episode today, I am, as you can tell, and I think as the episode goes on I get more and more passionate because I just love what I do so much. And this is why I will always carry on doing the podcast, because it means so much to me and so much that I get to give back in a sense. So how can you make yourself a priority in 2025? If that's the one question you ask yourself, I want you to do that and like journal on it and write about it. Buy yourself a journal for 2025. Like set yourself up in that way. Declutter. Do you need to cleanse your space? Do you need to like, I'm always chucking big bags of stuff in the charity shop. If I even feel like something's not aligning with me anymore or it's just not feeling good, declutter, get rid of. make space for fresh energy in 2025. Like, make space for fresh people. And like, if you're in friendships that aren't aligning, relationships that aren't aligning, get support in cutting them out. It's not as simple as sometimes like just cutting everyone out. Sometimes you need support and you need to go on that journey to do that yourself. A big thing I've done as well is learn about my cycle. I use natural cycles, and then I like test my thermometer. I like measure my temperature with it most mornings when I can remember. And I've just been learning a bit more about my cycle, and like when I'm having the urge to go for things and like use my energy, I'll do that. And then when I'm in the part of my cycle where I just need to rest and relax, I honour that as well. And I've heard this on a lot of podcasts, and until I started doing it, I didn't really like think of how beneficial it is. So learning about your cycle as well is a big one. I feel like I've spent this whole episode like going for it, and then now I'm actually looking at my notes of what I wanted to talk about. I wrote on my notes, avoiding burnout like the plague and listening to my body and what it needs. That is a big one, because I've been through burnout this year and it was not fun. I really was like in the pits. I was really, really unhappy. And like, although I was still giving my best to everyone, that came at a big price of like, I wasn't giving myself the best. And then I've spent like the last part of this year like investing in coaches and really making sure that I have got the support I need going into next year. That I feel fully supported. I've got like my beautiful mindset coach. I've built an amazing relationship with my family again. I've got amazing friendships that support me. I've got my lovely podcast manager. All of my clients support me as well. Like, they are absolutely all so incredible. So I've set the foundations for my life up this year, and like even coming out my mouth, that feels quite like, I can't believe I'm actually saying that, because I spent so long like yearning for this life and really wanting this type of life, and like sat in the office thinking like, how can I like create a life that I want? So for you, like following those urges, if you're listening to this and thinking like, okay, I know I'm meant for bigger and better things than I'm on right now, what are the first things that you can do to do that? And like getting out in nature, getting out your comfort zone, like doing things that really feel aligned, and learning to trust yourself. And like big ways to learn to trust yourself like our meditations, our journaling, and maybe I'll create like a little challenge or do something, I'm just thinking out loud here, to help people with this and like kickstart it for January. But honestly, I hope you go into 2025 with some more inspiration, with some more like drive, and I hope I've given you a bit of a kick up the bum to go after your dreams. And I hope I can sit here and be an example of someone that has gone after their dreams and is really reaping the rewards in 2025. Like the fact I don't even know how many countries I'm going to get the chance to visit, and I don't know what's in store for me next year. Like, I've got my vision board and I've got lots of exciting things booked and like plans, but I'm still an open book. I'm very open to loads of different opportunities, loads of new people in my life, like really like solidifying and building those relationships I have in my life. I'm so open to it all, babes. So cheers to you. Cheers to a successful, happy, fun, buzzing 2025. Cheers to me for doing 51 podcast episodes. I think we're on now 51 or 52. How fucking beautiful is that? I promise you next year is going to be full of podcast episodes. That is my commitment to myself and to you guys, that I'll continue to be showing up each week throughout my journey, throughout my travels. And I love you all if you're listening and if you've got to the end of this episode. So, love you all, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode on the Your Girl Yaz podcast. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 a.m. UK time, so I look forward to seeing you back here. I also have a free higher self meditation course for you to learn to meditate, to relax, to switch off, that's available for you to access now in the show notes. And also don't forget to follow the podcast wherever you're listening, rate, leave us a review. I appreciate it way more than you could ever know. Thank you so much again for listening. If you've got any feedback of the podcast, my Instagram at Yasmin Lily Hilston is also linked in the show notes, and I really appreciate it.